Panzer IV F2, single control point version of the Eastern Europe map. What all could go wrong? Well, realistically, plenty could go bad. Stick around and find out how bad it really gets. So one of my favorite kind of areas in the German tier that I like to play as is the mid tiers, where like the Panzer IVs and some of the late Panzer IIIs are at, as well as some of the better German spags like the Ausf and the Wirbelwind sit. Well, my first run through the German mid-tier tree was a real trudge. Once I went back to it, and I really just, kind of got my skills down, or skills up, I should say. I could go back to this mid-tier, and I just have a shit ton of fun. This is especially when your best vehicle in your lineup won't be the only vehicle that you can spawn in. It doesn't cost you that many spawn points. So you can really spawn in something else afterwards, even if you don't get any kills. Because I'll tell you what, it's pretty frustrating taking out a Tiger 2, not getting anything done, getting killed really early on, and you can't spawn again. And you just feel like that's a real waste of your time, and that's just not fun. So that's why I've been spending a lot of time in the German mid-tier again. And I think in this instance, I don't have a vehicle that's rated above a 3.7, which would be my ME410, and I think as well as my Wirbelwind are both 3.7s. The Panzer IV Ausf F2 here, it's a 3.3 if I remember correctly. It might be 3.7, I cannot remember for the life of me. Though it really doesn't matter, like I said, I don't have anything that's above a 3.7 in this current lineup. So this Panzer IV F2, or I'm sorry, Ausf F2, whatever Ausf stands for, with its 75mm cannon is actually a pretty good vehicle in the right situation, even against these monsters like KV-1s. Luckily I get this first shot off pretty quickly, and then I get a second one on him and kill the crew. Now I knew somebody would be defending the control point pretty quickly, so I knew that I was just going to have to circumnavigate around to the south and hopefully, catch somebody on their flank or their rear, and lo and behold, we got a T-34 right here. For whatever reason, that first shot did not register. So instead of sticking out like a sore thumb and going directly into the control zone, I decided to just stay here to the side and finish off this T-34 first before I would make my way into the control zone. Then I moved in and scanned for enemies down the streets here and make sure it was clear. There's just, of course, a huge amount of vulnerability in this control zone. So we gotta make sure to scan through the fences like right here. I don't know how I got through that T-34 in one shot, but it happens. Still scanning in and around the fence that direction, I spot a Su-122 and managed to get a shot on his rear, not something that kills him instantly. But what I thought was making a second shot on him, turned out I just hit a T-70. And immediately after that T-70 gets destroyed, the Su-122 I hit previously blows up. So I don't know if the shell went through the T-70 and hit the Su-122, or the Su-122 had a fire and it finally just exploded. I don't know, but I got a double kill out of that one. So 3.5 minutes into this shindig and I already have 5 kills. Who would have thought? It was a good thing I hid myself behind that house, because there would have been no way that KV-1 would have missed me. So with that nice easy turret shot that I made there, I think I killed at least 2 of his crew. And of course he's pretty badly damaged now, so the best thing I can do is just go around this building and come up from behind. And a second shot to the turret finishes the job. So let's hammer down the victory and move towards their spawn area. At this point, my only real big fear is aircraft. They really haven't shown up just yet, but they will. Oh, they will. But we still need to be careful and wary of armored vehicles as we're moving down to the spawn area, of course. So I scan across to the south side of the river just to make sure that, everything is clear. And here a little snack appears before me that I must eat. So realizing this is actually a really good position to sit at and aim at people from behind as they're advancing towards the control zone, I decide to just kind of stake out here just for a little bit.
Units ready. Roger that. Fire.
Then I figure, might as well go directly to the control zone now. Do what I wanted to do earlier. Keeping a watch on what's behind me. Just trying to go about it in a logical manner. Yeah, oh shit, T-34. Lucky bastard manages to take 3 shots directly from me, but I mean they were shots to the front, so it's not at all surprising. But knowing this is pretty much the main avenue that they would come down, I figured it's probably not the best idea for me to just go straight down that road. So I decided, you know, I should probably go back to the river. Oh no, not another T-34. Now one of the hardest things about the mid-tier German tanks for me is getting the vehicle to slow down and stop, and then getting that crosshair right on where you need it to go. Because you just slam on the brakes and the whole vehicle just rolls forward and then it rolls back once it slows down completely due to the weight distribution. But luckily I managed to get through the T-34 just in time before he gets me. So that was victim number 8. So let's see if we can find some more Bolsheviks to eat.
Roger that. Confirming fire.
Oh, hey look, another victim. So let's get some shots on him. That's 2. Somehow he's still alive, even though I got a shot to his fuel tank, but my friend there ends up getting the kill, not me. In the meantime, while all this is ensuing, somebody has just taken the control zone for the enemy team. It's like, oh shit, maybe we should do something about that. Originally my plan was to camp their spawn. But I figured, you know, we needed to get that control zone, because even if there's 1 or 2 of them left, as long as they have that control zone, that is a huge problem for us. So, off to AI go. I'm not too worried about encountering any armored resistance on the way there. If I was to encounter anything, I figured I'd encounter them to their surprise from the rear. I'm pretty sure, I was pretty sure that no one was going to get the drop on me. I also knew that most of their team was pretty much dead by this point, or they couldn't spawn in, you know, maybe the couple of parachute symbols you see there on the right, you know, meant a couple of people are just, you know, watching the game instead of just exiting back to the main menu. But I knew that a good portion of their team was dead already, and they had at least 2 or 3 aircraft up. So I figured, you know, there couldn't have been more than 2 armored vehicles up on their team, or in play right now. So I figured it was pretty safe to just kind of rush for A. But I was assuming that one of those enemy vehicles was at A at this very moment, or at least close to it. So I was still very wary about making sure to check down the streets for any signs of that enemy vehicle that I figured would be there. Of course, you can hear all those airplanes buzzing overhead. I was more wary about those airplanes than I was about armor, to be honest. And I knew as soon as I got into this control zone and I started taking it, that those aircraft would be my main source of worry. So depending on the situation and what kind of cover is available, at least in this situation, the best thing to do when you got aircraft around is just stay to the outer or the far outside of the control zone, so you're still taking it. Lo and behold, here we have an aircraft. Now I wasn't too sure if he was going to make the turn, but I tried to get my gun up on him anyways. And yes, he does try to make the turn, so I open up with my machine gun because he's dumb enough to be this low. And in that process, I get the kill on the aircraft, and I get the control zone. So pretty much now, we've pretty much won the game, so now it's about cleaning up what might be left. So there's 2 planes left on their team, and I know this just because I figured there's at least 2, because I'd seen 3 previously. And I know that there was 3 people left on their team, so that must have meant, okay, there must have been at least 1 armored vehicle. And I noticed our friend here in front of me firing at somebody. So that points me to where I should be looking for that last enemy armored vehicle. And with the ability to see tracers and the smoke lines of the rounds that are being fired by machine guns, there's only one conclusion there, so we'll make the classic flanking maneuver to his rear. I just hope I get there in time to claim the kill. Why, hello there, Governor. And 1 shot is all it took. Right to the turret. Killed the whole crew. So I asked earlier, you know, what all could go wrong on this map for me? Well, nothing at all. It all went wrong for their team. Not me. Not one bit, really. There were a couple situations that, you know, were kind of hectic. Or could have gone much worse, but luckily I reacted fast enough to get those critical shots at the critical moment in the critical place, and in turn achieve total victory over my enemies. So like always, I want to thank you so much for checking out this video. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, dislike it if you really did dislike it, but once again, like I said, make sure to subscribe to my channel so you catch wind of my latest release. This is Blitz once again, and I hope to see you out on the battlefield.